We are going to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Venus Independent School District to order on October 16th at 6 p.m. And we do have a quorum. And Greg, will you lead us in the invocation, please? We would like to welcome all of our guests tonight. So thank you for coming. And then item 4, did anybody sign up? No? Okay. We will go to item number 5, executive session for 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, 551.082, 551.0821 at 6:01 p.m.
It's a huge day of football on Fox, and it all kicks off with Big News Saturday.
He takes ball 3, 7 consecutive misses from the Clerk. Four-pitch walk. Tying run into scoring position. Go ahead, run aboard.
You know, in a weird way, it was almost an unintentional, I'm not going to pitch
We're going to go to item number 6, reconvene from executive session at 7:49. And we'll go to item number 7, presentation of campus reports and recognition.
I've been mourning for the last hour. All right, okay. So our current enrollment has increased a little bit, so we're still about 25 lower than last year, but it's pretty transient. So last week I had 1 withdrawal and we had 2 enroll today. So it's pretty common, but our class sizes are still probably averaging, pre-K is about 11 to 13, and then everybody else is 16 to 18. So for that age group, it's pretty appropriate. We've had a pretty great first 9 weeks. It's been exciting, doing a lot of fun things. Probably the most significant thing up there is our Walmart donation. It says grant. It really was a donation. And so we're really fortunate of all the businesses in Johnson County that have kind of adopted the primary school. And so we had a parent reach out to us last year and said that Walmart wanted to fully adopt Venus Primary. And so they donated over $9,500 worth of supplies to us, 4 massive crates. It was fantastic. Our maintenance department picked it up. And then we were able to share it with the other campuses. So utilizing our community has been great for our campus. All right. And then for our Teacher of the Month is Miss Lawson. She came from Maypearl. We are so fortunate to have her. She's been teaching, I think this is her 15th year. We couldn't ask for a better teacher. She is just so kid-friendly, always has a smile on her face, and is one of those teachers that just goes above and beyond for the students. And then for our staff member of the month is Rose Rodriguez. She is a special education paraprofessional. She lives and breathes for these students, and so it's been a great addition to have. She transitioned from our bilingual department to special education this year, so I'm really appreciative of having her. And then our student of the month is Jethro. I can't pronounce his last name, but he is absolutely the cutest little kid. He's in Miss Hoffman's class, and he's always helping those around him. He is just a true model student. And we have a special friend who's been wheelchair bound in his class last couple weeks. And Jethro pushes that student around everywhere they go. And it is the most amazing thing that you could see. So he is so deserving of this award. We're doing a lot of fun things. I forgot to include our bilingual night that Ms. Roden helped with. Had tons of parents. Our teachers did a wonderful job. We're excited for Trunk or Treat coming up, Red Ribbon Week next week. So we just try to have a lot of activities for our kids and staff and make it more of a learning environment, but it's somewhere where kids want to be. Any questions? I went overboard over here, so they're going to get on to me.
Oh, that's really tiny. There you go. We are up to 674 for enrollment, and I just had 2 new students start today, and I had 1 withdraw, but I also have 2 families that called today that have 1 or 2 or 3 children that are looking to enroll. So our classes are getting really full. They just keep coming. We've already started our field trips this year. These were pictures from 5th grade went to the Mayborn Museum. So I put a couple of pictures on there of their field trip. 4th grade is about to go to the Fort Worth Science and History Museum in Fort Worth. GT is going to Spark in Dallas tomorrow. We have Red Ribbon Week coming up next week, and I've already started my board report for next month because we're going to have so many activities on there that I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget anything. But if we go on down to our student of the month was Kyler Verdell, and he is an amazing kiddo. He is in Karen Williams' 2nd grade class. He is just, you would never know that he has not been a bulldog since kindergarten. He's just fit right in. He just is one of the gang. He is just a great example of a kiddo who knows. He already knows. You can ask him what pause means. He tells you, and he just wants to help in any way he can. Really, really sweet kiddo. Our teacher of the month was Amber Messmer, and she's our 4th grade math team lead. She has taken STEM scopes in our blended learning and has just run with it. She has 3 new teachers on her team this year, and she has embraced AVID. She's on our AVID team. She's done wonderful things with STEM scopes and planning, and has even asked for extra PLC time. She goes above and beyond. I wish I could multiply her all over my building. She's amazing. And then our para of the month, which we called her our local veterinarian, is Joni McCabe, our nurse. Not only is Joni a nurse at our campus, but when the primary needs help or the middle school needs help, if someone's out, she's always willing to go over and help. So she's always here and there, never complains at all, takes care of our kiddos. And we've already had strep, we've already had the tummy bug, we've already kind of run the gamut already this year, and she is just amazing and never complains and is a real problem solver and keeps our little boo-boo boxes all stocked up. So she does an amazing job. And any questions? Okay.
We don't have boo-boo boxes at the middle school. All right. So just so y'all know, we had a pact of what we were going to cover, and they broke it. So things going on at the middle school. We just went the other day, the JET grant, y'all know about that. We've probably already spent most of the money, but did the big whole check signing thing. It'll be aired on Channel 4. I don't know when. When I know, I'll let y'all know. But that was good for the teachers to be recognized for that. And then we have TSA going on already. We have a group of high school kids that come over every day for TSA. This afternoon, they were building robots for the robotics club. We did student council elections, so all of that's been done. They did their officer speeches over the intercoms the other day. So student council officer elections are happening. We had our student council kids did food testing for the cafeteria the other day for new items that could go onto the menu. They talked about field trips. I feel like that's all we did last week. So Thursday we had a group that went to Dallas to the Bid Expo, which is a construction. And then we had on Friday, we had a group go to a STEM event at the Texas Motor Speedway, and then on Saturday, we had a whole group of AVID kids go to TCU for a campus visit and then stay for the football game. So it has been field trip station at the middle school. Our teacher of the month was George Solis. He's new to us this year. He's 8th grade Spanish 1 teacher and has been an outstanding asset to our campus. He's amazing. The kids love him. The teachers love him. And he is, I would say he's already a dedicated bulldog. Our support staff of the month was Sergeant Lee. The teachers said that he's always visible on our campus, works hard to build relationships with our students. The students adore him, and he makes a point to speak to every one of them in the hallway, and he's been a positive addition to our campus as well. And then our student of the month this month was a 7th grader. So it was Johan Rico, and he is involved in everything. He was actually the next day in the taste testing for the student council stuff. But he is, they said, a natural-born leader, is kind and generous with other students, and is a hard worker. And so we were super proud of all of them. Any questions? Okay. You're up, Mr. Camacho.
I think they saved me for last for different reasons, but here we go. Okay, our teacher of the month was Ms. Berger, and this is really her second full year. She was a substitute, and she kind of became a grow your own. She's very dedicated. She has a different way of teaching science, and when I say that, it's a station rotation. They're never seated in one seat. They get up and move from desk to desk. She's also taken part in our tutoring program. Our staff member of the month is Ms. Roberts, our district librarian, and she is our district librarian, but she's more than that to us. She has mentored and is mentoring English teachers this year. She's very present in the hallways, and the kids know her, so they use her as not only as a librarian, but as a resource. The other good thing about her is her iced coffee is the best. So she spoils us. The student of the month is Juan Guijarro Vasquez, and he's a junior. No, he's a senior at the high school. He's motivated, hardworking. He's in multiple dual credit classes and college prep classes. He's also completing 4 years in AVID. He's a member of student council, band, National Honor Society, and is willing to help out in any way he can. It was a very big shock to him that he was in this category, so it was good to see. Proximity, I think I gave a short, brief description last month. It's going well in there. We have the upper level math, the pre-cal, and the geo pre-AP classes that are in there with a distance learning teacher. And we have Ms. London in there, who is the facilitator, and she assures that everything is going smoothly and they're all on their device. But all in all, bell to bell, that class has been a pleasant surprise. You know, we were kind of, well, we'll see how this goes, but it's been a very good experience. So that was good to see. Blue and Go Spirit Club. I can't say enough about this. Ms. Cassell came to me and wanted to form this club, and I had my reservations, and I thought, you know what? This is what high school should be for kids. They need to experience things. So she has 100 total members. Now, some of them are in different sports, so they're not all traveling right now. But if you go to a football game, you'll see anywhere from 45 of them to 50 that are participating, going. What really gets me about this group is when I look up in the stands and I go up and I do the Blue Go cheer with them, I see kids who were discipline problems last year. I see kids who used to sit in the corner at the cafeteria, and now they just boom, you know, they kind of blossom. They found an avenue. She gives them an avenue to be themselves. So I can't say enough about the program, and I can't say enough about Ms. Cassells and Ms. Berger. Next thing we have is PSAT. We had PSAT on October the 11th. We had 90 10th and 11th graders sign up. And we go to them, and we're trying to grow this group because the question needs to be, you know, it does not need to be, are you going to college? It needs to be, which college are you going to? So we're trying to instill that. So we're growing that as we go through. And lastly, National Hispanic Heritage Month is September the 15th through October the 15th. And we are about 65% Hispanic at the high school. Okay, and the teachers as well as the students have participated this month in announcements, teacher potluck, and that was nice. Everybody brought their own specialty. And then we have an essay writing contest that's due at the end of the week. We also have a digital mixed media contest so they can put together a slideshow. And then we have a door contest, and we had a dress-up day. I even have welders that have put together lifestyle, I guess you call it garden, what do you call those things? It'd be garden art, where they have the mariachi and the hat and the little, you know, sarape. So that has been good to see as well. And on Wednesday, we have our parent night from about 6 to 7. Questions?
Can you give us an update on band? I know they're doing really good.
Yes, they performed last Saturday, and they all got all ones, so they qualified, and they will be in Pflugerville this coming Saturday.
We'll go to item number 8, presentation of Emergent Bilingual Program Annual Report.
Dr. Torres, members of the board, Rosie passed out a front and back sheet for you at the beginning of the meeting, and that is because I had to add something to slide 5 and slide 8 after participating in a TETN with TEA last Friday morning for a couple of hours. They said they wanted 2 more things on the report, and so I have added those things to the slides, and those are the slides that you have that differ from what was in your packet. Next slide talks about Chapter 89 and Section 1265 and the Texas Education Code, Section 29, that require this annual report to the board. And one of the things, as we skip ahead 2 slides to the program models, we are supposed to report on what program models are being used in Venus ISD. So you can see that last year, reporting on last year, students in grades pre-K through 3 participated in one-way dual language, and our target there is 50% of the instructional time in Spanish, 50% in English. That does not happen in the pre-K classes. That's more a 90-10 as they make their transition to school from home. But in K through 3, 50-50. And there was a change made by the legislature recently. Now reading language arts teachers are required to obtain bilingual certification. In the past, the science math teachers had to have bilingual certification as well, but now it reads that a district may choose to allow teachers providing the English instruction, the 50% of English instruction, may choose to allow teachers who have ESL certification to fulfill those roles. And so you'll see on next year's report that that's going to help us fill positions in the future. Last year, students in grade levels 4 and 5 continued to participate in the transitional early exit model, which is basically 90% in English and 10% in Spanish by the time they reach grades 4 and 5. But in those early exit and late exit models, all teachers are required to obtain bilingual certification if you're using those models. In ESL, pre-K 5, students participated in the content-based model, which means every one of their teachers has ESL certification for the content areas. And students in grades 6 through 12 participated in a pull-out model in which all the ELAR teachers are required to obtain ESL certification. So these are the models that we implemented. Our next slide is going to show us how close we came to having appropriately certified teachers in those program models. So I am supposed to report on last year and also show you what we anticipate submitting for our bilingual exception and ESL waivers this year. So last year at Venus Primary, bilingual department, 2 teachers were under exception. This year, 1 teacher is under exception. So there is some improvement for us there numerically. At Venus Elementary last year, we had 3 teachers under exception. This year, we have 5. But all teachers are going to be working on those certifications. And the thing that I added at the bottom, the information that I added to my slide, but you don't see on this slide, is they wanted us to report the better news, which is Last year, 5 teachers total were under the exception, but 10 teachers combined at primary and elementary were fully certified. So that's positive news. ESL waiver last year at Venus Primary, we had only 1 teacher. This year we have no teachers. At elementary, we had 1 teacher. This year we have 1 teacher. But the more positive news is combined at VPS and VES last year, we had 43 teachers who did have the appropriate ESL certification. So I think the state wants us to be able to ask you to look at it in a different frame, because we've always been reporting what's missing and not as much about the amazing amount of support that's there. Last year at middle school ESL, we had 3 teachers under waiver. This year we have 1. At high school, last year we had 2 under waiver. This year we have 6, but I need you all to remember with some grace that every English teacher at Venus High School this year is new to Venus High School. And wow, they're all certified or in a program. And more recently, we added another intern teacher, but they are all working toward their ESL certifications, and they had their first of 3 2-hour trainings on our PD day. And that comes from an MOU that you approved last month for Miss Gloria Latigo to work with our teachers who need to obtain certification. But with that said, we did have 14 teachers at Venus Middle School and Venus High School who were certified ESL teachers. And goals last year, goals for this year, based on last year, is these teachers who are under exception need to attempt whichever exam, the exam in which they're deficient before March 1st of 2024. And those teachers who are in alt-cert programs and who can't get a code from their program to take the ESL test until they pass other tests first, at least need to complete the TEA prep models before March 1 of 2024, showing their commitment to getting that done. Moving on to professional development, you know that we're required, if we submit an exception or a waiver, to use 10% of our state bilingual allotment on professional development. And so last year at Venus Primary and Elementary, those who were working on bilingual certification completed the preparation modules for the tests that they were missing. And we also had Region 11 Education Service Center coaching from Gabriel Verone at our primary campus last year for our teachers. 6 weeks, observed every 6 weeks with a follow-up visit for the teachers. ESL prep, the Texas Education Agency modules for number 154 test, and plus teachers who requested it also were given a subscription to 240 Tutoring online test prep. And we also had Gomez dual language training for primary and elementary. And we had AVID implementation training for our middle school, AVID Excel, and our high school Avid ESL classes. Those were by campus. The district initiative last year was to purchase Summit K-12 online. Next slide, please. And that's to help our students prep for the listening and speaking portions of the TELPAS. TELPAS is given in the spring, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Speaking has been our lowest area since speaking went online. And so this is a program that students use 60 minutes a week to prep. Teachers had to be trained in how to initiate and monitor that program. And that is for students in grades 2 through 12 because students in K-1 who are assessed with TELPAS are assessed by the teacher in the classroom. Something that was added to this slide was how many teachers are we training monthly on content-based language instruction, and that's going to be 119 teachers monthly, and that's by me during their campus PLC meetings. Now, next requirement is to look at TELPAS data, and so that's going to be on our next slide. And this gives you, I'm going to give you 3 different looks at the information. And thanks to Ms. Camacho for always making sure that as our assessment coordinator, she can provide this information for me. But this just shows you all the grades tested, kinder through 12. We had 10% of our students who scored at the beginning level. We had 41% of our students, or 273, score at the intermediate level, 41% score at advanced, 275 students, and then 9% at advanced high composite, which was 58 students. So our newcomers and kindergarten students are basically our students who are in the beginner group. And then intermediate students all across the grade levels. And that's also dependent on how many years they have been in the U.S. Impacts their scoring there. And then it's hard to get from advanced to advanced high. And part of that is because a lot of the students that need to get from advanced to advanced high are in high school. And I'm just going to be transparent. It's harder to motivate a high school student to give their all on these particular assessments given in the spring. And I can tell you that because I had a student ask me last year at the high school when I was introduced to the class as the bilingual coordinator for the district, why should this matter to me? Why should I work hard on it because I know it's not going to keep me from graduating? So there we have the difference in being motivated to pass EOCs and being motivated for some students to do their very best. And I gave 2 or 3 reasons that I thought were good reasons to try your best at anything, but that's a challenge. That's really a challenge, and truthfully, it's beginning to be a challenge for some of our older middle school students as well. I shared with them that it reflects on their teacher, it reflects on their campus, it reflects on their district, but think about when you were in 8th through 12th grade, your main concern was probably not how anything reflected on your school district necessarily. You had other things that were much higher on your priority list. So that's something that we have to work on at every level. But the next slide shows you that at primary, 31% of the students advanced a level just by moving just between kindergarten and first grade. Elementary, 7% advanced at least one level. Middle school, 18% advanced one level. Venus High School, 8% advanced one level. But all of those percentages are reflected in the comments that I made about the previous slide. Star EOC is on the next slide. And this just gives you a district view of approaches, meets, and masters on every campus. And yes, we're not doing badly on the approaches for our EB students. Our percentages there meet and sometimes exceed the state averages. But masters is an area where we obviously need some growth. And then these are broken down by campus on the next 3 slides, just in a little bigger format. Here's your elementary results. Next slide is going to be middle school results. And then finally, your high school results. So, questions? If there are none, the last slide has a quote about the advantages of being bilingual. I'll try to answer anything that may not have been clear in the presentation if you have questions.
Thank you for putting all that together. That's a lot of information.
Okay.
Thank you. We will go, our next item, we're kind of moving around on our agenda. We are going to go to the transportation report. What are you doing? I didn't even see him.
So this is our basic overview that is provided to us based on our BusView stats. We had over 74,000 card scans, so students are scanning every time they get on and off the bus. We had 325 active app users, and the mileage that was traveled. The 325 app users made 441 transportation change requests, meaning that they needed to go to a different place or they wanted to change from a car rider to a bus rider or a bus rider to a car rider. So that's a pretty significant number of changes that the campuses are making in the month, because we had, I believe, only about 16 or 17 days that we were on campus. So that's a pretty significant number of changes that are happening on a daily basis. The app messages, there were 5,500, and those are from parents that have signed up to get notifications, be it that when their child gets on the bus, gets off the bus, or it could be extracurricular related. And we had 39 work orders created and 32 that were completed. The other number are still in process. We may be waiting on parts, and some of those, it doesn't necessarily mean that our bus can't continue to provide service. It just means that we need to change something.
On the saved 19 staff hours, is that in transportation? Is that at the campuses?
Altogether, what they estimate that it would have been had they not, had they been taking calls from parents rather than using the app.
Okay.
And there's another page. And this is just kind of an overview of what was going on during the month of September. We currently have 37 routes that are operating. We have 7 routes that are for Bulldog tutoring that are after school that run. We had 40 field trips during the month of September. And just an overview, again, a statement of the app users. We now have 879 parents that are registered. The highest day of ridership was 1,445 students that rode on September the 7th. I currently have 2 transportation employees that are in the training process and hope to take their CDL exam by the end of this month. And the next is about the suppliers and getting buses. So we know you've probably heard that there are union strikes. So it is affecting our bus that we have on order, our activity bus. We originally had an expected arrival of March. That is going to be pushed out. I don't yet know exactly how far that is going to be. I'm hoping to get an estimated arrival later this week or next week. They are meeting with the manufacturer to find out when they can expect how far that's going to be pushed out. This is a picture. My transportation drivers and monitors wanted to participate in the homecoming parade and did, and they were very excited. A lot of times when there are things that are going on, our drivers are participating or taking students home, so they were really excited to be able to participate.
We have 2 activity buses coming, correct?
Correct.
Didn't you say seats right now is one of the issues?
Seats are one of the issues that they specifically mentioned.
Did anybody have any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We will go to item number 9, presentation of district improvement plan and campus improvement plan. Why weren't you up there?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump off the primary onto the district plan. Just so you have an overall understanding of what we've done this year. In the past, those of you that have been on the board, we've run with a 7-goal model, and so this year we made some adjustment, condensed some things down, make it more efficient in what we're trying to accomplish. Next page. Next page. Go on to where it talks about the goals. Okay, right there. Okay, we have 5 goals. Before it was 7. What we did was take goals 1 and 2, which deals with student performance and their progress, and we condensed them into 1. And I'm not going to read through all of this, but if you'll just notice the goal says, student learning and progress, readiness, Venus ISD will maintain a culture of excellence that allows each student to demonstrate the knowledge and skill needed for college, career, military, and life readiness through personalized learning. Okay, and that's what we've been about for a very long time, is we're going to prepare them to be successful students, but not only do that, prepare them for life and whatever they choose afterwards. All right, go on. Next. Okay, these are some of the strategies that we placed, because basically what it is, you have a goal, then you have a performance objective, and then you have strategies that support that performance objective to see if we've accomplished it or where we're at. And this is the same program that we've used for the past several years, and you'll notice that upon your approval tonight, then we'll meet in November, and we'll go through each one of these as a district committee and see how much progress we're making. Are we 20% there? Are we 30% there? Are we 50% there? And that way we can track it through our quarterly reviews. Next page. This is just a continuation of Goal 1. Performance Objective 2, the gap between performance of all emergent bilingual ESL learners. That's what Ms. Roden just went through. We include that in our district plan as well. Next page. And then Performance Objective 3, increase the number of students demonstrating proficiency with standards in reading, language, arts, and math by 5 percentage points. Those are the two areas of performance that we've got to get better at. Okay, next page. All right. Continuing on, performance objective number 4 under Goal 1, increase from 50% to at least 70% students who indicate self-efficacy in knowledge and skills that contribute to college, career, and military and life readiness on a student readiness survey. Because that's a very important piece when you get into the whole accountability part, is that CCMR indicator. And then the strategies that follow. Next page. Continued on. Performance Objective 5, at least 40% of students will meet TSIA criteria in math and ELA reading by graduation. That's an important piece because that is what shows them to be college ready in the dual credit and those sorts of things for their coursework. They have to be TSI complete. Now, they don't have to be TSI complete in the beginning. You know, if they're TSI in reading ELA, there are some courses that they can take, and as well as when they get TSI complete in math.
What's the percentage now?
The what?
What is our percentage now?
So for current seniors, we have, I can't tell you off the top of my head. We have about 20 to 25% that are TSI complete in both. And then we have another probably 25% that are TSI complete in one. But for this year's seniors, we're on track to be at about 75 to 80%. Because we've implemented College Bridge, which is one of the ways that they can be TSI complete. So for students who can't take the TSI test and pass it in a traditional sense, then there's college prep programs that we can use, and it still gives them that indicator, and it still prepares them. So since we've implemented that, we're looking at the end of this year with this year's seniors, we're looking to be about 80%. We're hoping for more, but we're looking at 80%, which is still above our goal. It's a big improvement.
So why would our goal be 40% if we're currently at 80%? Wouldn't we want to?
We're not at 80% yet.
No, we're not.
It'll be at the end of the year.
Yes. So.
But if we think we would be at 80%, why would we make our goal 40%?
Because that's, like she said, we're at about 25% with 2 different subgroups. And as they improve, by the time we get to the end of the year, we're going to be shooting for that 80% mark.
So why wouldn't we reflect that here?
Because you want an achievable.
We want stretch goals, right?
What?
Stretch goals.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to be at 80, we're saying we're cutting that by 50%. I mean, if we think we could get to 80, I don't know why we wouldn't at least put 80.
It's just a numbers game, in the fact that we want to have something that's achievable. If we need to increase that, then we can have a conversation about that with our district plan group, and then make that adjustment moving forward.
College Bridge is new for us, so we implemented it at the end of last year. So we haven't even had a full semester with it yet. So we're still, it's going great. It's going wonderful. The students enjoy it. We've actually had students that have asked to do it because they're not necessarily in one of our classes or programs with it, but they want to do it so that when they do go to college, they'll be TSI met because the colleges accept it. So we've actually had students that have come just in like the past month or two that are more interested for it already. We had students that did it this summer, seniors last year. So it's College Bridge itself is a brand new program. So without College Bridge, I don't think we would get anywhere probably close to that 80%. So it is the first year, like first really full semester of the program. So we're really kicking it off and seeing how things are working there. It's going great right now, but also I don't probably want to overshoot.
I just think we're selling ourselves a little short here. If we feel like we can end at 80, but we're only saying 40.
And
Just-
the current number is 25%.
And I'll just say, I think we can currently go back and look at that.
Mhm.
It is a new program. It's another option for kids, which is great. We don't just have to pay for it, right? And so not knowing that, I think we can go back and look and maybe increase that percentage more. I know we're at 20, but we didn't have the college. We have that now.
And we met today.
We go back to look at that.
If I can. And tell me if I'm speaking out of place, but I think just to make communications better, I mean, I know as a board member, I get tired of just seeing numbers. Numbers. Well, then when we start hearing 80% and 25% and we set for 40%, you know, to us, it's just like, you can manipulate numbers to do anything. You know, so let's make things realistic so we can actually see where we're going with it, as opposed to just throwing numbers out there and guessing at it. And not saying that's what we did, because I know y'all put a lot of work in this, but when you're sitting here listening to it, it just seems like it's just unnatural. The numbers just don't even compute. You know, if I was doing a budget, I wouldn't do a budget for, well, I think I'm gonna make 80,000, but I'm gonna make a $25,000 budget, but, you know, I'll settle for 40%. You know, you just don't work that way, and so it's hard for us to visualize what y'all are trying to do here.
Well,
Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
I think based upon the TSI piece only, that 40% would make sense. Now that we have the College Bridge piece, which is another avenue that kids are taking advantage of daily, I mean, and it's another way to do that through class test, then we can increase that number. We're gonna make a prediction. We still don't know how many are gonna come out, what that's gonna look like. It's kind of difficult to say, well, 80%, we're tracking, we hope we get there. But the 40%, I think it would be fair to say, was more aligned with just the TSI piece. And now that we have the College Bridge piece, which it's gonna help us, at least we're trending that way, then we can look at increasing that number a little bit.
So when will you review that again?
We'll do our first review in November. You see the quarterly reviews.
So you'll change, you could possibly change that number? Now that we have tools that are gonna help
Yes.
us?
And
Okay.
that's the big thing that, about this document, and it doesn't matter if it's the DIP or the SIPs, these are living documents. And we can go in and we can adjust numbers. If we see a major change, then we'll go in and adjust the numbers. And that's the thing, we met today about a couple of programs to help our students. And one of the areas that we saw is in our ELA reading. And we've got to, like the College Bridge and some of the other programs that we've got going on, really push that, and then you'll see those numbers go through the roof. But this is a quarterly evaluation that can be adjusted at any point in time.
I just think it's good to have high goals, stretch goals that make you work a little bit harder to reach where we want to be. So,
Right, next page. All right, performance goal number 2. What we've done here is we split things up from student performance into financial type relationships. So if you look at goal number 2, it is committed at, can you make that a little bit bigger? My old eyes are getting tired. Venus ISD is committed to excellence by serving to develop procedures and practices that serve the financial needs of the district in an ethical, efficient, and effective manner in the pursuit of providing resources to maintain a culture of excellence. Okay, and one of the things that we look under that performance objective is manage the financial resources to provide the maximum allocation possible for direct instructional purposes to obtain high ratings. And as you very well know, we've done very well in the past several years in our first rating of Superior. And so just ensuring that we allocate money appropriately, and this is Brandy's piece as far as the plan is concerned. Next page. Okay. Performance Objective 2 is committed to financial transparency with the community and taxpayers, ensuring our stakeholders are provided with trustworthy financial data. So it's all going to be transparent. Next slide. Venus ISD is committed to a fiscal budgetary strategy that will maintain the district's creditworthiness and take all practical precautions and practice measures to avoid any financial decision that will negatively impact the credit rating on future debt mass. So paying very close attention to the financial stability of the district. Next slide. Goal 3, this is where the HR department comes in, professional and quality staff. Performance Objective 1, establish annual review of compensation and benefit package. Next slide. Increase the retention rate of teachers from 79 to 82. This last year, our retention rate was 76 to 80, and we hit 79. So from our teachers, we're going from trying to retain 79 to 82, and you'll see some of the strategies that we have underneath there. Next slide. Safety and well-being. This is in Chief Wood's wheelhouse, so to speak. Part of this has to do with the campus as well, reducing the number of discipline referrals, 22 to 17. Next slide. Reduce the number of confirmed bullying reports this year because we have to track all that information. Next slide.
Do we have a goal of like where we were to where we want to be? Or is it just
You want to see the actual numbers? I can get them for you.
I just think that's like a specific, I mean, if we're doing specific goals on some of them, I mean, just because like the 17% of referrals, just maybe
Well,
knowing where we were to where
and that's
we're
the
going.
thing, and you can ask the campus principals. We get bullying reports all the time, but being able to confirm them to be actual bullying reports, well, my son's being bullied, but when you investigate and go through that, but we can definitely put a number in there.
I think that's probably the only way we're going to be able to measure it, if I'm right.
Measure it.
Yeah.
Number to start with.
All right, next slide. Supervision of students. We have a lot of students that have to move between portables in the buildings and from, class to class, that sort of thing. And I know if you're ever around the campus, when the bell rings and they have to go to one of the outbuildings, whether it be a portable or the 6th grade building, that sort of thing, we have staff members' eyes on them at all times. Next slide. This is mandated, and this is training that we have online at the start of the year that all staff members have to complete as far as sexual abuse, trafficking, and maltreatment of children. Next slide.
Have all staff members not been doing it?
What?
Have all staff members not been doing it?
No. I'm saying that's a mandatory training for all staff at the beginning of the year. It's done online.
But everybody's doing it?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. All right. This is one that just came up with the approval to employ additional officers. We're going to add 2 additional police officers to the VISD force. That way each campus will have a police officer on site. And in conversation with Chief Wood, what this is going to provide us an opportunity is now that we have one on each campus, we can provide some programs and training and kind of be proactive, which will impact some of those other areas by educating our kids using our police officers. Next slide. This is safety and security at all campus and school events, and we've been blessed in the fact that even though we've only had 2 officers, we've also, like for big events, football games, that sort of stuff, Venus PD has also helped support us in that. This suicide prevention plan, that's a mandate from the state that has to be in the plan. That was added last year. Next slide. Our community is of utmost importance to us. And so trying to find innovative new ideas to get those parents involved in their children's education, whether it be us going out into the community as we've done in the past. I know Miss Roden, where'd she go? Last year, Cinco de Mayo was a unbelievable turnout with parents and relatives and that sort of things. And so coming up with some activities like that so that we can bridge the gap between our community and our schools. Next slide. This is one that our glorious PIO, if you are a member of Parent Square and those sorts of things, you know, we've always pushed them out through Skyward, emails, that sort of thing. Now with Parent Square, it's just another device that we have to make sure that our parents in our community is fully aware of what's going on in the district. Next. That's it. Okay. I can go through 4 different plans if you would like, but just so you understand this, every plan, and we're not going to open them all up because we'll be here till tomorrow, but understand the format of all these plans are identical as far as goals, and then each campus, depending on their specific needs they had to address, they put in their specific information. I'm sure they would love to sit down and visit with you sometime if you have any questions, but the format is the same way with the district plan. We'll have quarterly reviews of our campus plans, and if there needs to be adjustments made, whether it's percentages or whatever, they can make adjustments, or say they put a strategy in and they figured out, you know, 4 or 5 weeks in, change the strategy and make it work. Any other questions?
Did anybody have any questions on the specific campus ones they wanted to ask?
No, thank you.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice.
We'll go to item number 10, consent agenda.
Make a motion that we pass the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, a motion made by Greg, second by Amber.
And I'd like to make a comment before we vote.
Okay.
This is one of the first consent agendas that we actually use the consent agenda for its purpose and put a lot of this routine annual items on there rather than putting them on separate items. It was the purpose of it, and I appreciate having 10, 12 items on there when it's a routine thing we do annually anyway. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, we had a motion by Greg, a second by Amber. All in favor? Motion carries. 1, 2, 3, go. We're gonna table item number 11.
We need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we're gonna table item number 11. Motion by Amber, second by Kirby. All in favor to table? Motion, the table passes. I don't know what to say there. Motion to table passes. Item 12, consider approval of budget amendments to the 23-24 general fund.
I'm on. Okay. Good evening, President Gore, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Torres. I'm just bringing you this item. There's no budget impact. It's just simply a change in function, but due to CE local and board policy, any changes to a function requires board approval. So I think if you'll scroll down to the next page, you'll see there we're just simply moving money from function 11 to function 31 guidance and counseling is for some testing materials and assessments, and so it's more appropriately coded in that according to the Financial Accounting Standards Guide. So in order to do that function change, I just had to bring it for board approval, but there's no budget impact.
Any questions? No, okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendment.
Motion by Amber, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe, all in favor? Motion carries. Go to item number 13, consider approval of renewal of the Falk Company.
Yes, and I just I wasn't sure, I couldn't find it in past board docs of when if this had been brought to you in the last 12 months, but this is due to the expense of this budget item, it does require annual board approval. This is for our custodial cleaning services. This contract was brought to the board 2 years ago. This is the third year of the contract that was agreed on initially, although the board does have a right to review and make an approval or decision each year. But this is the third year, and then after this year, there is an option for a 2-year extension, but I expect our team would want to review this as we come into next year, but this is for custodial services. It's optional 1-year extension, and then there's another option available after that. It's sort of confusing.
Is this, did this increase?
It did not. Well, there was a slight increase. There was in the original documents of the contract that was agreed upon, there were some small, I think it was like a 4% increase each year. It did not increase over the original agreed prices.
Okay.
But it did slightly increase from last year. It's currently budgeted.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the renewal of Fox services.
Second. Second by Kirby.
Can we have a little discussion?
Sure we can,
Have
absolutely.
recommendations from Mr. Moore and our Dr. Torres about, what do you think about it?
There were some little rocky spots here a couple of years ago that I'm sure that you might have been made aware of. They brought in a new supervisor as well as a new manager of the account. And since that point, our buildings have been in great shape.
Yeah, I will just say, their lead manager came in and asked me any questions, and I said, obviously I haven't seen your work yet and what you've done, but he had said the same thing. He had talked about there were some changes in personnel. And I will say the last 3 months, though, I mean, a lot of times I'm here when someone comes in to clean here. I've also contacted principals and said, have you had any issues with custodians? And they have not. So I think apparently if there were some issues before have been addressed, I haven't had any problems the last.
One of the things that we worked really hard for them to understand is, our principals go to them if there's an issue, but if they see an issue, they go to the principal and get that guidance from that point. So there's a bigger communication piece that hadn't been there in years past. So we're in good shape.
Y'all are happy with it? I'm good. Good.
So we have a motion by Amber and a second by Kirby. All in favor? Go to item 14, consider approval of purchase of police vehicles.
Last month we did review this item, and unfortunately it was originally communicated to me at a different price, and once we had the final settlement price it was higher than what I'd brought to the board. So we were bringing the item back to make the correction. So the 2 police vehicles, it's not to exceed $36,000, and this is within the current budgeted funds. I have also put some processes in place to avoid this kind of miscommunication in the future.
So we're getting 2 for $36,000?
That's correct.
Anybody have any questions?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, a motion by Joe. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A second by Amber. All in favor? Motion carries. What we had discussed in executive for that position is on there.
We'll just need a motion to untable.
Okay. That's easy enough. So we'll go to item number 15, consider approval of matters related to personnel, resignations, employment. Well, no, we're approving that position first, and then we can go back and untable the, yeah. So item 15, consider approval of matters related to personnel, resignations, employment, position, or contract amendment. So as discussed.
I'll make a motion to approve as discussed in executive for matters related to personnel, resignations, employment, positions, and contract amendment.
Okay, so a motion by Amber. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Joe. All in favor? So we will go to item number 11. Do we have a motion to untable the item that was tabled?
I'll make that motion to untable.
Okay. A motion by Joe to untable and second by Greg. All in favor to untable? Untable passes. And now we will consider approval adjustments to the 23-24 salary scale. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 23-24 salary scale adjustment.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Greg. All in favor? Motion carries. And we will go to item number 16, reports.
Okay, yeah, have all reports listed here. Don't know if you have any questions on those. I'll just tell you, we on my end, we've just we wrapped up the first quarter. We've had a great first quarter. We ended the week last week with a staff development day, and it was very productive with all of our campuses. And so we are moving right along. We are already in the second quarter, and just a lot of good things happening here, whether it's academics, sports, fine arts. We have a whole lot to celebrate that you heard earlier from all of our campuses, and so just really excited where we are right now. And so looking forward to this next quarter as we move into the holiday season here. It'll be here before you know it. Mr. Moore, do you have anything?
It's been a hectic, crazy start to the year, and it's hard to believe that we're with the way through already. And so we've got great things going on, and before we blink an eye, it'll be Thanksgiving and then Christmas break, and we're halfway done.
I just would like to say the start of the year, since this has only been a few weeks for me, I just have really am very grateful to the team here at Venus ISD for making me feel at home and supporting me, and I hope that I'm giving back what's expected of me. So it's been a great first year, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Did anybody have any questions on any of the reports? No? Okay, we will go to item 17, board request for additional items. Next scheduled board meeting date is November 13th. Anybody have any items, requests for?
You wanna do Friday?
No, we don't have to now.
Okay.
We don't have to do Friday now.
Is it at 6?
Yes,
Yes.
it'll be at 6. Yep.
And then on the 13th, you said?
Yep, November 13th.
And then we have that one coming up on Friday?
No, that one we don't have to do now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We canceled that.
And we moved it up to the 13th because we will be out of school on the 20th. So we moved it up.
Good. I'm glad that we got that taken care of tonight.
You don't have to get up at 7?
Yeah.
Be here at 7?
Awesome.
And we will go to item number 18, and we will adjourn at 8:59 p.m.